Hey, we are so excited to be joined today by Stephanie A. Wynn of the Stephanie A. Wynn Foundation. Thanks for being with us, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited for this interview.
All right. Well, we are talking about coaching today and what you get out of it, why somebody should have one, what's the difference between a coach and a mentor, and full disclosure, you are a coaching client of ours. So we wanted to talk about what's the benefit of coaching? Why should people consider making the investment?
So, thank you so much for that question. And thank you for the opportunity of being able to be coached. So, I I truly believe that whether it's for personal development or business development, if you have your own business, I truly believe you need two things. Two things. One is a mentor and one is a coach. Because you can try, but it often leads to burnout. But you can try to do this by yourself. You do need someone who has either gone through, not just any coach or any mentor, you need a coach that can really take you or your mission from A to B, not just standing still where I do everything. Coaching helps you build, it helps you develop personally. I believe, that's in my opinion, that way you can become a better leader, a better business owner, a better community member, if you will, if you're in the nonprofit space. But even for personal development, coaching really stretches you. Like, it really teaches you how to expand your mind from just, oh, I know everything, I'm just going to do it this way. And it helps you look at all of the options. Hey, while your way is this is good, but maybe try it this way, because the way you may be doing it, you're working harder, but maybe with the coach and the mentor, they can give you information of, hey, here's a smarter way to do it, and you're not having to pound the pavement of getting things done. I listen, I'm team coach, I'm team mentor all day, and I can go on and on, but I really truly feel like everyone, even if you don't have a business, you need a coach and you need a mentor. Even if it's just like you want to accomplish some things in life, you could have a life coach. You could have a personal development coach, a speaker coach, if you will. So there are all different types of coaches and mentors. You just have to find what it is that you truly need.
Well, and I think you pointed out something that catches a lot of people, and that is especially for CEOs, the expectation that you're supposed to know, right? You're supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to have all of the answers. And I think that gets a lot of people stuck because you don't have all the answers. And even if you have some answers, there may be still be some better ones out there. So, how do you address this I'm in charge, I'm running the show, and that confidence that you need to relate to your team and still also admit, I don't know everything. I might not be doing this the best way. I need to be pushed in these areas. Some of those things that a coach can bring to you.
Well, first, one is I know what I know, and I also know what I don't know. And so oftentimes, and it's okay to say that, but I can get the answer for you, right? That's one of the things. And I've learned, even with in my career of finance, you know what you know and you know what you're good at, but you also know that you need to have a team of people who can help you get to where you need to be. So there may be people on your board or people like a coach or a mentor who knows a lot more than you do, and they may have suggestions of, maybe, hey, Stephanie, go take this course. They have this training that can help you add to your toolkit if you don't know a certain thing. So I'll give you an example. I'll break it down even further. Like most CEOs, like you said, they will say, hey, I'm in charge. I'm large and in charge, right? But what does that really mean? One of the things you want to do as a CEO is have you bring value to your team and let them know that, hey, I'm the leader, but I don't know everything. Like, we're humans, right? But I will get you the answer to your question. Or if we don't know something, that's where, as a leader, you bring in the specialists or the people who know how to help your organization move the needle forward with understanding whatever it is that you're missing. So, like for us, we needed a strategic plan. Like, we didn't have a strategic plan, and we didn't know where to start because we were a grassroots nonprofit organization. So we felt the need that we needed coaching in this area, and we need to be able to unpack that strategic plan. What does that look like? It's okay that we didn't know how to do that, and I wasn't afraid to say, hey, I don't know how to do that. Like, what do we need to do? Because again, you can be a leader and not lead well because you large and in charge, right? But you can also be a leader that's effective when you come with all of the pieces together. So, hey, we have the strategic plan, and you explain it to them in a way, the board, your employees or volunteers, you explain this plan in a way that they get it. Oh, that's all I need to do? You provided them with everything they need to do. So now that makes the load a little bit lighter for the CEO.
Well, and I think it's a falsehood, right? I don't think employees actually have the expectation that the CEO knows everything. That
Right.
is a burden we place on ourselves that's not really there. I do think employees expect you to solve the problem. And so, if bringing in a coach, a mentor, an outside specialist helps to solve the problem, then that is the role of the CEO. Let's get it done.
Yes, yes,
You started this conversation, Stephanie, by expressing gratitude for to be able to be coached.
yes,
And one of the things we're grateful for is that you are the first who we are able to coach. And you have been an ideal candidate for someone who signs up for this because you are showing a level of humility and a desire to learn, right?
yes,
So when we start the process, and we'll talk a little bit about this in more detail, but you were able to come with us like, here's what I do know, and here's where I have some level of confidence, but here's where I feel like I'm missing that mark, and this is where I need your insights, right? So you helped drive the process alongside us, and frankly, as a coach, it made it a lot easier to be like, okay, anyone who knows me knows that I'm not the biggest sports fan, so when I try to do sports analogies, I was like, is he going to land this one? But I'm going to land this one. I have confidence, ReGina. Like, you're swinging a lot, and you're trying to make sure that you hit the ball, but you're like, hey, I'm doing a whole lot of action. So how do we make sure that you're holding the bat in the correct way, that the ball that is coming at you is one that you can realistically make contact with and then knock it out of the park? So we've been able to have some of those conversations in large part because you're willing to hear them, and you're
yes,
willing to come to us and ask us those questions in a desire and hunger to learn. So thank you for being an
yes,
incredible coaching client, incredible mentee. The other thing you immediately do is follow through. So I
yes,
wanted to acknowledge the gift that it is to work with Stephanie A. Wynn, is that she's like, these are the ideas, let's talk through it. And then she immediately goes out and puts this into practice, which then allows us to explore what worked, what didn't work. Because at the end of the day, as a coach, only you are going to know the full context under which you're doing the work. So ReGina and I can bring tons of background and experience, but when you're putting it into practice for your community and your stakeholders, it's going to have to look different. And so we can then work together on, okay, we tried these best practices, this is what worked, but this is where we still need to find another solution. So I just want to point out, you started this conversation by acknowledging, thank you for the gift to be able to be coached. And I'm like, thank
yes.
you for being coachable, and thank you for hiring us as your coaches.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, I tell everybody about the development department. And you're right, like, you have to be coachable. And that's one of the things that if I could recommend that to any CEO that's listening to this episode, is it's one thing to want a mentor, but are you able to be mentored? Like, do you have the mindset, the open mindset? And hear me out. You can't take this personal. Like, if you're wanting to grow, you have to remove the emotions. Sure, we get like, we cringe. Some things I like, ugh, oh my gosh, I can't do that. In my mind, I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't even know where to start. But I get it done. I just take a deep breath, and even if I have to step away from it for a minute and say, I'll get back to that. Because sometimes, because we're living in a world of we gotta move. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do this. I gotta be everywhere, and I gotta do it. Be everything to everybody. But you have to take time when you're looking for a coach and a mentor. You need to make sure that they are the right fit for what you need. And a lot of times, and Regina and I talked about this too, a lot of times CEOs, they don't know what they need. Because we were there. Like, we were thinking, hey, we need to fund this program. But before you fund that program, do you even have it all put together? Like, let's talk about, do you have the budget right? Is your need statement right? Does it speak to your funders? Like, these are simple things that you have to get done. And having a coach that has experience in that, I think the development department, they're very good about that. We need to know what your problems are. Like, what are the problems that you see? And I think when the leader or CEOs, they could sit and think about, what do you need the most help at? Like, they're going to be more successful, because now they're able to think about it. They're in the business, and they're not just passing it off to somebody else. So now that I know what our greatest needs are, we can get the help, we can get this coaching, and so now it could put us in a better position to be successful.
Well, and one of the things that you both talked about is being coachable, right? But what exactly does that mean? And I think that's a good thing for us to really break apart. What are some of the things that you need to do or be to be coachable? And one of the things that I think is most important, yet most difficult, is that you have to have a really honest self assessment. You have to know what your strengths are. You have to know those areas where you need to grow. You need to know the problems that face you. You need to know the things you've got on lock. And you need to, as you said, Stephanie, know what you don't know. And sometimes that can be harder, but you also have to be open to when those things come to you. So if a coach is bringing those things to you, you have to say, okay, wait a minute, let me see if that's actually true, and be willing to accept some things, which, as you said, Stephanie, can be cringe-worthy moments.
Yes.
But if you're willing to take it and receive it, it really can strengthen you and your organization tremendously. But what are some other things you need to be coachable?
So you need to have, so I'm going to break this down because I just got to go here. You have to have the mindset first to be coachable. You have to have a positive mindset, and you have to have that mindset of, I don't know it all. Some of us know everything. What is that saying? You are a jack of all trades, master of none. You can know a lot of things, but that doesn't mean you're taking action on it. I think you have to be teachable, not stuck in the I already know. And then you got to be willing to hear new ideas, because there may be one idea you may have been stuck on a presentation. Tom can relate. And it just takes that one little nugget that you need to finalize that presentation. Not because you didn't know, but you just need a little help. And that's where we go back to being coachable, having an open mind to receive the information that is being presented to you. And then, like, taking action. Now, it's one thing to be coached and mentored, but and receiving the information, but you don't do anything with it. You know, we hear this all the time, faith without works is dead. But what does that mean? That means that you have to write down what it is you're doing as you're getting coached. Take notes and then say, okay, how am I going to apply this? They say knowledge is power, right? But applied knowledge is even more powerful. So when you take the information and you apply it to the situation, you're going to come out on top. I feel sometimes I'm the bionic man or something sometimes, because getting coached this last year, it was like, I did that. We accomplished this thing. And it wasn't because we knew it all. In fact, we didn't know. I'm going to give you an example. We didn't know that your budget should not be the same as the amount that you're asking for. We didn't know that. Right? But because we went through a process and a program, we were coached, we took that information, we adjusted it. Now, it took some time. It took some time to get it together. But we understood that after going through that, oh, wow, that stuck with us. Hey, so what? You had 100 people attend your program. Funders don't care about that. They want to know what was the result of them attending your program. What did the individuals get or learn? What was the behavior change, right? And so that's what I mean by you have to be open to receiving this information. And yes, sometimes it does get overwhelming. You will leave some meetings or coaching sessions like, man, I need a drink. But it's okay. That is perfectly fine. That's how you know you're growing. And so those are my takes on like what it takes to be coachable. You got to get the mind right, and you got to get out of that place of being stuck that you know everything. I don't want to know everything. That's just a lot. That's a lot to know. But I want to be able to be coached so that we can get to where we need to be, and everything that you need will be there when you're ready to get to that next level.
What I love about what you both said in speaking around, you have a sense of what you know and what your immediate needs are, but you also have to be able to explore what those other things that you might not see to get there. So one of the ways that we structure any coaching client's experience is we have an intake call. We talk to you about what is it that you need to solve for right now. And then we're listening, not just what you're saying for, we really need to raise money. We need to raise $100,000 for our symposium. We will ask some follow-up questions to better understand where else might you need additional support behind that initial ask of we have a goal and an objective to raise 100,000. We are then able to say, okay, well, we recommend that we do explore the structure of the sponsorships for the symposium as a tactical coaching topic. But we're also going to take back, like, what is that case of support look like? What were the past experiences of symposium attendees, and how have you told that story? So what you have demonstrated time and time again is we're going to co-create this experience together. So we are listening to what you say you need, and we're also offering to you, you may also want to consider this. So one of the things that we do differently at the development department is we give you coaching. We give you 10 sessions, 5 to 10 sessions, depending on, and we encourage you to help generate those ideas. What are those 5 to 10 topics you want to talk about? But we're also going to probably insert 1 or 2 that you weren't expecting. And that's by design to ensure that we're looking at the entire landscape. So I want to ask you, Stephanie, how was that experience? So you've completed your first 10 coaching sessions with our team. What was that process like between the first intake, what you thought you wanted and needed, and where you are, roughly 10 weeks out, having had your coaching sessions?
Well, let me tell you this, I can go on all day. We'll be here till midnight, but I'm going to shorten it. So when I first got the schedule, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be easy breezy. I'll just show up. But me as a leader, I don't just show up. I always show up with questions, because so for each session, it was different topics. So in the beginning, we broke down our budget, like our accounting software. We really got down to the meat and potatoes. Hey, girl, you got all these categories. You need to fix that. And so we were like, okay, wow, we didn't know that. So one of the things that we learned was if you're wanting to go far, meaning funding wise, your books have to show that. And so what we did, even with the coaching, we leveled up. We got us a CPA. We were able to have a bookkeeper to help us get our books reconciled. That was the first session. but it was something that we knew we needed to get done, right? So now we reconcile our books every quarter. So at the end of the quarter, when we meet with the bookkeeper, we don't have to wait until December 3rd. We're reconciling all these months. They're all done. Like,
And
and
was that
so,
something that you came in knowing I have something, I have a problem that I'm trying to solve for, and I need to solve for this? Was that the topic you were thinking of, or this was something that we brought, said you probably want to look at this too?
yeah. So I thought that when I saw budgets, I was like, oh, we're gonna do a new budget. No, it was, hey, you can look at you can tell what your budget is going to be based off of your dashboard, your accounting software. Like, and so I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. Like, I was going in there thinking, I'm just going to take some notes. No, it was an hour of unpacking a lot of, hey, do you know what this means? Do you know that you need to reconcile? First of all, do you know you need to reconcile your books? Let's start there. And then it was like, oh my gosh. And after that session, it was like it was a sense of accomplishment. Like, we got it done. And then we can move to the next session. So in the next session, okay, Stephanie, what does your sponsorship package look like? You know, does that what does it look like? Let's go over the numbers. Like, let's look at the benefits of your, what are they getting? And we unpack that. And when I tell you I was overwhelmed with that, I thought I was going to just pass out. But it was good stuff, like, because we learned so much from that. We learned that, hey, even though all of your sponsors can't get all the same benefits, right? There needs to be a difference in than all of them. So whether it's $1,000, 5,000, 10, 20, 30, whatever that number looks like, your presenting sponsor needs to get the best benefits, and it needs to be of value. And so knowing that helped us say, hey, let's go back. So going forward, we can now be in a position to say, hey, you get these benefits, that's it. Like, this is what it is. And the sponsor understands it better. So we were able to make sure that our sponsorship document looks the part. It was clean. They didn't have to wonder what they were getting. They understood. And so while going in, I was thinking one way, like, I'm just going to take some notes. And they're just going to tell me what to do and I'll go and do it. No. I'm going to take notes, but you're going to do the work. Like, and it's going to be not just work, but we're going to make sure that you understand. Do you understand what we just went over? Do you understand what you got to do next? Here are the things that in your next session, these things need to be accomplished by your next session. And again, one of the things that I can say is what helped us is consistency. That's so important when you're going through coaching and being coached or mentored. It's how you show up. And I'm a big firm believer. If I'm not on time, either I'm not well, something's wrong, or if I forgot something. And I know we're not perfect, but yeah, consistency is key. But having a schedule of what we're going to talk about before the meeting prepared me of how I showed up in each session, so that I was able to communicate with you. And what I loved about it is that in each session, you all allowed me to ask my questions off the top. Hey, what questions do you have before we get into our session? Because now we get that out of the way. Now we can get to work. So I like that. That's what I loved about the session. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I think it's really important, and truthfully, people do expect this, coaching is not a magic wand. It is not just going to come in and make everything right. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sit back. And you will get out of coaching what you're willing to put into it. So I think the issue of like coming prepared, doing the work, understanding that coaching should push you to do work, or push your team to do work, or push you to have conversations you haven't had yet to make decisions you need to make. There is definitely work in it. It is not a situation where your coach is going to come and say, you need to do this, and I'll do it for you, and poof, it's done. Yeah. But your coach really should be explaining things to you, helping you understand why it's important, right? It's not just that you need to do it, but you need to know why you need to do it. And you need to know how you need to do it, so that when similar but slightly different situations present themselves, you are in a position where you're armed with the knowledge of how to handle that. So I think that's a really important part of coaching, that people need to understand how it works and have that expectation going in so that they can maximize the opportunity.
Yes.
And what I found with our conversation, Stephanie, is they're very tactical and tangible. So the other thing I would want any of our potential clients to know is we are coming in with an agenda. We are trying to address something specific, that you have a tangible outcome, if not multiple, over the course of that hour conversation with us. So yes, there's some work, but we want to make sure that after each individual session, you feel like you're able to move the ball a little bit further down the field. And I've seen for you in particular, like, we're not even in the same stadium anymore. She's already moved 3 stadiums over because she's like, oh, I've been doing this the whole time you've been talking, Tom. So then one of our calls, we literally screen shared and we redesigned the donation webpage and took the feedback to adjust the giving levels so that you could be ready for an annual fund campaign, right? So we're very hands-on. You have to do the work, but like, we're here with you to ensure that you can, move the ball down the field and continue to advance your mission. So as you all are saying, there's the need for you to take the action, but we're going to be there at your side, literally, to ensure that you know why and how to execute. So you're like the dream client. We want to clone you as many ways as possible because you have demonstrated all the qualities of being coachable. You're receptive to new ideas. You're coming in with clarity. The set of questions are so helpful because it provides us the context of where to respond and provide technique. And then you execute. Like, you're a dream. So if y'all don't know who Stephanie A. Wynn is, you need to know. And she gets things done. And I am incredibly grateful. And I'm impressed with what you've already accomplished.
Yes.
Prior to our engagement, you've built an organization from the ground up. And then with some 10 sessions of coaching, which is a blink of an eye over the course of your organization's history, you're already taking it to a whole nother level. So thank you and congratulations, because the sky's the limit for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And again, for those that are listening, listen, if you are a nonprofit in the nonprofit space or even social enterprise space, or maybe not, you need a coach, you need a mentor, and you need to be coachable. Like, it is so vital. And I've been through a lot of trainings. We went through the community leadership training. After that, we went through a results first training to help teach us how to explain our outcomes in result format, so that we're not just making up these statistics or they're not attainable, so we can report on our milestones and our targets, and it's correct, it's accurate. And I'm telling you, like, training, you have to get training. You have to be able to be trained, just like with being coachable. And that all comes back to personal development. How are you showing up for your organization? And I think as leaders, when you show up consistently and you believe in what it is that you're doing, I think the team will follow and they'll be on board with doing what needs to get done to move the mission forward.
Yeah, I want to emphasize professional development is not fluff money. It really is integral for organizations to be able to grow and move forward and accomplish all of the work that they need.
Yes.
So really invest in your team, yourself, in your development to get that coaching and support and training that you need to move forward. And the development department is definitely here to help you grow in the fundraising aspects of your work.
And if you're joining us going, well, obviously this is a commercial for the development department. Yes, but science has backed up that the adult learning practices that we all need to continue to grow and become more effective in our leadership and in our roles 70% of it is on the job experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have your hands in the dirt. You have to be doing and implementing those actions and suggestions. 20% of it is coaching and feedback. That is a critical part of you being able to hone your skills and to grow. And then 10% of it is the formal training. And so the development department is part of the solution of that 30% of your growth. We know you need to be doing the work, and we want to coach and support you and provide the formal trainings as necessary for you and your team. So it is backed by science, and we are happy to be your coach, your mentor, and your trainer, depending on what your needs are. And
Yes.
Stephanie, thank you for your testimonial. Thank you for being literally the dream of us having a coaching practice around fundraising and organizational development.
Yes.
And I wish you the best of luck. And if you all are not familiar, check out the Stephanie A. Wynn Foundation. We'll make sure that the notes are in below to see the incredible work that you and do you want to talk about your work for a moment? What is the Stephanie A. Wynn Foundation?
Yeah, so the Stephanie A. Wynn Foundation, we are a patient advocacy organization where we focus on patients who are diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease, specifically those in underrepresented communities, and has the greatest barrier to access to health care. And so our organization, we have a program called the IBD Patient Navigator Program, where we provide one-to-one patient navigation for patients who are either referred by their GI doctor. It can be from a community partner or a community health care clinic, or they may have seen our information on social media. And it's a 6-month program, and each patient, they are assigned a navigator. And what we do is we help the patient understand their diagnosis. We help the patient prepare their questions for prepare for their next appointment. But the most important part is within the first 45 days, we help patients, we make sure that they have a GI doctor and a primary care physician. That is so key when you're building a multidisciplinary team, because as you go through this chronic illness, it is really debilitating at times, and sometimes patients don't have caregivers. And so the navigator is there to help the patient truly understand, hey, did you understand what the doctor said when you got diagnosed? Do you understand why you're getting this CT scan with contrast? Do you understand why you're getting these lab orders? You have to get these labs done. And so we really want them to get the basic understanding of inflammatory bowel disease. And 2 forms of that is ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. So our goal is we have really moved the needle with like getting coached by the development department. And we were able to, even going through the other trainings, we were able to secure additional funding mechanisms with just being in a position to be coachable and getting out there and just being consistent and showing up. Oftentimes, I get questions all the time. Well, Stephanie, how do you get your sponsorship? What did you do? Well, it's like building a relationship, and it's like dating, as ReGina would say. You got to cultivate the relationship. And that is so key. Whereas most nonprofits, when they, and I'm going to say this, and this is not just me wanting to brag on the development department, but you have to build a relationship with anything. I had to build a relationship with the development department. And what that did for us, it really helped us level up. I mean, this year's sponsorship alone, we went from here to here, like we went from A to D. And that's because we were in a position to be out and about with our community partners, going to conferences, showing up. And that's one of the things that I love about the development department, is that you all provide coaching in a way that makes sense. And a lot of nonprofit leaders, they don't know what they need. I'm telling you, you need to come to the development department, because they will help you figure that out. I mean, you got to know something, but they will give you a plan, a roadmap, and that's what we need. We talk about funding all the time. I got to get money. I need to apply for this grant. And we're chasing and pounding the pavement. We're trying to get funding. But what we need coaching first. Before you go and ask for that money, do they know who you are? do that funder know the work that you're doing in the community? And that is so vital. Before you ask, you got to serve first. And so I just want to say this, like, having a coach, I'm going to leave you with this tip, because I know this is going to help somebody. But being a CEO is not just about, I know everything and I know everything. No, it's not about that. It is being able to be coachable, and it's also being able to be consistent. You got to be consistent, and you got to show up for the organization. And when you do that, it will change the trajectory of the direction your organization is going, and it will propel you to that next level. I promise you, I'm a living witness, and I'm going to land my plane. Thank you.
I think that's true. And I will also say that you really emphasize what is the theme and the word for the development department: relationships, relationships, relationships. And you have to spend the time to invest in those, both on the funder side, but on the coaching side as well. Really making sure that you lean into the relationship building of it so that you can maximize and get the most out of it. All right, Stephanie. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It is always a pleasure, right?
Absolutely.
And remember, fundraising always works better with a plan.